Bond. James Bond.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Did we just become best friends?
Yep! Sublime!
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Tear me apart, Lisa!
But mostly I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Not even at all.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of You Haven't Seen That, a movie discussion podcast where we introduce our friend Ben to movies he should have seen a long time ago. I'm your host, Amanda.
I'm Geoff.
And I'm Ben.
And today we are discussing Spider-Man, the OG from 2002. Stick around until the end. We'll be chatting about our top 4 animals that we would want to gain superpowers from.
Spider-Man.
Starting some new franchises.
Listening now, movie studios. Spider-Man. After being bitten by a genetically altered spider at Oscorp, nerdy but endearing high school student Peter Parker is endowed with amazing powers to become the superhero known as Spider-Man. Released, like Amanda said, in May of 2002, the #1 song in the country, Foolish by Ashanti.
Yes.
In world news, Elon Musk founded SpaceX. In famous pop culture births around this time, actress Sadie Sink. And
oh, gosh.
No.
Yikes.
Doesn't make you feel old. And basketball superstar Angel Reese. And in famous pop culture deaths, Lisa Left Eye Lopez of TLC passed away right around the time this movie came out, sadly. This movie was directed by Sam Raimi and stars Tobey Maguire, Willem Dafoe, Kirsten Dunst, James Franco, Rosemary Harris, Cliff Robertson, and J.K. Simmons, and a whole bunch of other people that just randomly showed up in this movie too. Fun to see. This was the first theatrical live-action Spider-Man movie. This was a development for years and years and years, but they finally got it on the big screen. With a $139 million budget, this movie went on to gross $826 million at the global box office. This movie set records in its opening weekend. With a $114.8 million box office opening, this set the record for the largest opening weekend in history, beating Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And it was the first movie to hit $100 million in its opening weekend, even when adjusting for inflation. Spider-Man was #1 for 2 weeks before the release of Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. And it finished 2002 as the #1 movie domestically and the #3 movie worldwide. This was very well received by critics, 90% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 77 on Metacritic. Spider-Man was nominated for 2 Academy Awards this year, Best Sound and Best Visual Effects, which it lost to the eventual Best Picture winner, Chicago, and Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, respectively. This ended up being the first of a trilogy, all directed by Sam Raimi, all starring Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, and etc. So a very influential movie in the greater comic book movie lore and history.
Yeah, the one that started it all.
Arguably the one that started it all.
Yeah, kind of.
At least in its current form, I feel like.
I think so. I think there could be some debate in terms of whether it was The Dark Knight or Iron Man or anything like that around this time. But I think comic book movies can be hits in live action on the big screen. This is the one that sort of got the ball rolling there.
That's when movies start to take a dive.
Okay, Ben. All right, tell us your history then.
Me?
Yeah.
I was a freshman in high school in May of 2002, and I definitely remember this movie coming out. And I think I wasn't really into Spider-Man or anything like that, so I wasn't interested in seeing it, even though I'm pretty sure everybody I knew was seeing it. And I also generally still, even though I wasn't super into movies, I was into following the box office. So I definitely remember it setting the record for the biggest opening weekend ever at the time. So I do have a memory of that happening as well. And then as far as just Spider-Man in general, I've learned a lot lately because my 3-year-old is very into Spider-Man. And in fact, we got a book from the library that was very similar origin story. I really couldn't have told you much about the origin story before reading that book like 2 weeks ago and then watching this. I kind of knew loose threads of it, but when I was watching this movie, I was like, hey, that's in the book we got from the library. It's not like tied to the movie, but obviously it's the Spider-Man origin story, so there's some similarities. So there we go.
Nice.
Thank you. And what about you, Geoff?
So I was 10 when this movie came out, and I was not allowed to see it in theaters because it was PG-13. So I missed the opening weekend craze and everything. And weirdly enough, it took me a very long time to actually see this movie in full. I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was years after this movie came out. I I maybe had tuned in occasionally when it was on TV, but I never remember actually seeing it in full for a very, very, very long time, not until my 20s, which is so weird to say because of the cultural footprint this movie has. So I don't have a long history with this movie at all. I maybe have a greater history with the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies that have come since, and certainly the ones that have come in the 2010s, the later in the 2010s, I should say, part of the MCU and the animated movies for sure. But yeah, that's my history with this movie. Not a great one. Sorry to disappoint.
That's okay. I don't think mine is much better. Yeah, I don't think I saw this movie when it first came out. I saw it at some point. I don't remember when. I don't have any like distinct memories of seeing it, but I know that I have seen it at least once or twice before. So this was definitely a revisit for me that I haven't seen this in quite a while. Ben, what is your score?
This was fine. I don't know. I didn't think it was anything special. I was kind of like, this was the movie that was like the movie to start this whole craze. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to give it a 2.25.
Could be worse, right?
Could be worse.
Could be worse.
What did you do you remember what you rated Guardians?
Guardians, he was far harder on. I do remember. This definitely beat Guardians.
Okay. And I assumed it would. I was just curious.
Guardians, I gave a 1.75.
Okay. All right. So a little bit of room between the two.
I feel good about that.
Yeah, because that's the
I like
only
this more than Guardians.
Yeah, and that's the only other superhero one we've done, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We try to be somewhat respectful of your wishes. All right, Geoff, what's your score?
This is a tough one to rate, and I think we're maybe not the right audience for people who are looking for people to gush over this movie and kind of jump back to their childhoods and everything, because a lot of this is ridiculous in terms of the way it's shot, the edited effects, the line deliveries, the fact that nobody actually looks like they're in high school or freshman in college, the cheesiness with the lines. However, with that cheesiness, there's almost a charm to it. There's an adorable charm to its age that brought me back to a period in time of innocence and almost like an era where these kind of comic book characters could be fun. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to give this like a 5, because no, that's not the case. I'm not going to give it a 4 in the 4s either. But I do think that there's an element of fun to this movie that adds a layer of charm to its nostalgia that isn't seen in a lot of comic book movies or anything like that nowadays. That is hard to deny, that I respect, and I feel like I got to give it at least some love for. So with that said, I'm going to go with a 3 points. Let's go with a 3.
Alrighty. And I will not repeat a lot of what you said, but I feel the same way about kind
You're
of
gonna co-sign it.
yeah, pretty much. It is wonky, and yet there is a charm. And I'm also giving it a 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that I definitely grappled a little bit with of like, is this like a great movie? Have there been much better superhero movies since this? Yes, but there's just something about it. And I think a lot of what you were saying, Geoff, about the charm and the ability to just kind of like have fun with it is one of the things that really stands out.
Well, I've always been a Batman guy. That's the only superhero I like, and I like it a lot. But I was surprised, like watching this, because I feel like, you always think of I always thought of this movie as like this was the one that kicked off the whole, well, it's either this or Iron Man. I feel like in general, like Iron Man kicked off the MCU, but this kind of kicked off superhero movies just being giant hits at the box office, and and so I was expecting it to be like less dated and less cheap looking in some ways. Like I was like, so I guess what I'm trying to say is like Batman Returns, for whatever flaws it has, to me holds up better because it's so stylish.
Mhm.
Whereas this feels like an early 2000s movie through and through, in terms of quality, in terms of look. Like I was surprised at just how dated it looked.
Yeah, Batman Returns rules first and foremost.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the things too, when you look at a lot of movies as time goes on, as those sort of time capsules that capture that period of time. And the movies that seem to stick out are the ones where the story and the elements where you can relate to the characters and you kind of feel theirs, you can almost look past the dated CGI or whatever. Now, of course, there are some examples like Jurassic Park, for example. Now, I know Jurassic Park is like in God tier compared to so many things, but like those VFX will never age.
No,
those will always be,
they'll always look good.
They'll always look good. Exactly. So I think what it takes for a movie like this is that to stay relevant with, using so much VFX, especially when it ties into this early 2000s ridiculousness and silliness, is the story element. And that's where I think Spider-Man sticks with a lot of people. And even then, when I'm watching it today, I'm like, yeah, this is still fine. Like, yes, him swinging through New York City doesn't look great. Some of the stuff with the fight scenes doesn't look great. But Spider-Man realizing his true potential, with great power comes great responsibility, will always hold up, especially for a lot of people nowadays. There's a reason why Spider-Man is so popular. There's a reason why they keep making Spider-Man movies, and it's not just because Sony needs to make so many Spider-Man movies over the period of time to maintain the Spider-Man contract. It's a bunch of legal language with that. But
Spider-Man does seem like he gets caught up in legal things more than your other big time superheroes.
Everybody wants a piece.
Like a whole little web of legalism. See what I did there?
Hey.
Yep, he's one.
But I think it's shocking to me there was not a big screen Spider-Man movie until 2002, when Superman was 70s, Batman was 80s.
Yeah, that is kind of hard to believe. For sure.
I just like, I don't know. I just expected it to be, I don't know. I guess I expected it to be a little more stylish, and it was to me a little more straightforward 2000s, feel. And I don't know. Batman Returns feels more timeless to me because Batman and Batman Returns feel more timeless to me because they don't feel early 90s in the time period. They are,
there's a little more practicality to it.
Yeah.
Yep. Also, is a touch for director choice as well. Now, I'm a guy who looks at like the director things and stuff like that. And when I look at the Batman movies, it's Tim Burton, and Tim Burton's all about production design. He's all about being over the top, and he's all about the practicality. For Sam Raimi,
and I've not seen Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, so I know Batman went off the rails. So
yeah, a little bit. But with Sam Raimi, as he comes in for these, Sam Raimi made his name in being like cheap horror director. That's where he established his name, and then had made a few he had made a superhero movie before this and had kind of dabbled in all genres, but this was his big movie. But when he started and made his name in Hollywood, it was for horror and it was for kind of cheap and making things on a budget. So there's almost like a cheap charm to his movies in the way that they look and how they kind of capture that practical filmmaking. So yeah, it's a lot of it, I think, also could come down to director choice.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think there's an element for that as well.
Yeah. And honestly, looking at it from, the 2026 lens, and after having been pummeled for so many years with Marvel and DC movies that have all just started to kind of like look and feel the same.
Yes.
I really appreciated the 2000 feel of this movie, even though I was laughing at some of the visual effects and it's like, this is so corny. I think that ties back to just what I was saying at the beginning about like the charm of it. It feels different now that we've been oversaturated with this type of movie for so long, from these studios that just keep making essentially the same movie over and over again.
That's fair. That's fair
Absolutely.
for sure.
Absolutely. That's such a good point, Amanda. When you see the way these movies nowadays, they cost almost twice, they can cost twice as much as this one did, or significantly more than what this movie's budget was at the time, which I know was a lot. And it is a lot of computer generated stuff, and it's a lot of, hey, we can edit this in post, we could do whatever. And it is still kind of walking that fine line and leaning on the story of Spider-Man to succeed. So I think that's such a good point.
Have you seen like all the other Spider-Man movies?
Let's see.
Like these ones or like all of?
Well, all. These and Andrew Garfield.
Let's do the 21st century.
Yeah. Well, there isn't any before the 21st century.
There's I think some like animated stuff or maybe like straight to TV stuff.
I guess I meant of like the big ones.
Let's do the big ones.
This trilogy and the Andrew Garfield ones and the current ones.
Amanda, do you want to go first?
I don't know if I ever saw Spider-Man 3 from like this particular trilogy. I feel like I probably did at some point, but cannot confirm. Definitely saw the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man and have seen all of the Tom Holland Spider-Man, both him in and out of his own movies.
Yes, I have seen 1 and 2 in the Raimi trilogy, did not see 3. I saw The Amazing Spider-Man 1 with Andrew Garfield, did not see the second one. And then, yes, I've seen all of the Tom Holland ones and have seen the animated 21st century Spider-Man movies as well, the Into the Spider-Verse movies.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those.
Yeah, we can't forget about those
too.
the only one I have seen besides this is the first Andrew Garfield one, which I saw in the theaters.
There you go. I did too. I remember vividly going to the theaters to see that one.
I didn't choose to. I was just invited, but
sure.
I actually remember liking that though, and liking him in it.
Mm-hmm. He definitely plays a different Spider-Man than Tobey Maguire does.
Yeah, I don't love Tobey Maguire. I know a lot of people like him in this part, but I don't know.
His face
I feel like
weird.
I think I remembered liking Andrew Garfield more, even though it's been a long time since I've seen the Andrew Garfield movies.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire's face is really weird, and I know there's a lot of memes of him from this movie, particularly him crying over Uncle Ben's death. And yeah, there is something about his performance that's just kind of like almost vacant feeling. But I think again, with the advantage of being able to look back on this with time, it is just interesting to see how the three of them have approached the Spider-Man character over the years. And in the Tom Holland Spider-Man from 2-3 years ago, where they all came together.
Yep.
Yeah, that really warmed my heart. And I feel like that kind of, if people weren't already feeling nostalgic and warm fuzzy feelings about Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, I think they really felt it during that particular time.
For sure.
Yeah.
When you can see that he is the blueprint to the live action sort of ideation of that character. And I think you made a very good point about playing it vacant. I think he almost weirdly played it like, I don't want to say like going through like a puberty-esque phase with his change, but he really tried to visibly manifest the I'm changing, not just physically, but mentally, and in everything that he was doing with this. I don't know if any other Spider-Man has portrayed that. Now, when I look at the other live action, or when I look at the other Spider-Man movies that have come out in this century, Andrew Garfield, they start from the beginning as well, him getting bitten, and then woo. Tom Holland, we never see the transformation. He's introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in Captain America Civil War, and he's already been bitten. He's doing his thing, and Tony Stark shows up to try to get him on board with the Avengers and everything. And that's a long rabbit hole we don't need to go down to. But
to me, that's a smart call. Like, how many times do we need to see the origin?
That's exactly it. It's like what they did with the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. That's what they did with the David Cornsweet Superman movie. We don't need to see the origin. Y'all already know what's going on. Here's the deal. Same thing too with the Fantastic Four movie that just came out as well. No need for an introduction there. But he almost plays it, but back to my point, Tobey Maguire almost plays it like a teenager going through puberty at 18. Though he's, I think, 25 or 26 when this movie is actually filmed. But he's displaying like a moodiness that his aunt and uncle, by the way they're acting, have never seen before, which is also weird, having dealt with a pubescent boy at some point. Like, it's a very weird sort of portrayal, maybe to, again, tell the audience in a not so subtle fashion that Peter Parker has changed in a lot of ways. So yeah, I'm a different person in every which way.
Yeah. It feels weird though. I mean, that's always been my favorite thing about the Tom Holland Spider-Man, is because he has legitimately been the most like youthful of the Spider-Man. And he, just it brings a different energy to the role, and you're like, oh yeah, like this is actually what it's supposed to be, because Peter Parker was in high school.
Yeah. This probably goes back to just my general, shrug about superhero movies in general, but I get so bored by origin superhero plots. Maybe it comes back to like what I liked was like the 1960s Batman, where they just fought a different villain every week and it was the same setup and we didn't have to spend any time like figuring out how it started. But whether you're talking about Batman or Superman or Spider-Man, like I don't care. I don't care how they became their superhero. And I feel like what has happened so often in movies, and I'm glad it's maybe finally starting to not do this, like you were just saying, Geoff, but like I feel like every time they want to like get a new actor in there, they feel like they have to like start over, and then we have to like go through it all again. And then by the time we get into like the interesting stuff, they're like, oh, time to reboot it again. And let's start with the origin again. I don't know. I don't need to. I feel like we can go a very long time before we need to see an origin movie for any of those three main characters.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, it depends on, I mean, no, you don't need to include it, but if you do include it, the faster you include it and get it over with, like,
yes. Yes.
I do want to note something, Amanda, when you mentioned Tom Holland and his youthful energy. I just looked this up. So when Spider-Man was released, this one, Tobey Maguire was 27.
Don't tell me something I'm not gonna like.
When the let's jump to Tom Holland. When Tom Holland was first seen as Spider-Man in Captain America Civil War, he was 20 on screen.
Oh, okay, great. I thought you were gonna say I was wrong.
Oh, no. The reason why I skipped that, I thought you were gonna talk about Andrew Garfield, because Andrew Garfield, if my math is correct, when the Amazing Spider-Man came out, Andrew Garfield was 29.
Well, I think Andrew Garfield looks younger than Tobey Maguire does somehow.
I agree with that, weirdly enough.
But
he doesn't look like a teenager to me, Andrew Garfield.
No.
Okay, I thought you were gonna be like Tom Holland was 28.
Was
I'm like,
45.
you've
No.
gotta be kidding me.
No, Tom Holland is currently 30.
I was
So
like, he has the babiest of baby faces then, if that's true. But okay, 20 tracks.
20 is good.
That's an appropriate age to be if you're supposed to be like 18.
Yeah.
So, what do you think was the most early 2000s moment? Was it Macy Gray singing? Or was it the line, "That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?" I was like, oh, 2002.
I would say it was the intro credits.
Yeah.
Right off the bat was the intro credits. Man and I both noted it in the moment. We're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, definitely.
We talk about, like, when we were talking about American Graffiti, like, boy, talk about having a look. Like, the early 2000s are definitely have a look now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Maybe Willem Dafoe looking so young. That's the most 2002 thing.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And that man is still bringing his A game 25 years later. It's unbelievable. I loved watching him as the Green Goblin in this. He is
I was going to say, I don't know if they brought his A game to this movie.
Are you kidding me? It was perfect for what he was supposed to be.
I disagree.
I think it's supposed to be over the top. I mean, they even teased it at the beginning where they're like, okay, the one person who failed this test basically went insane. And Sam Raimi is already asking for campiness and cheesiness and whatever because we don't have the standard about comic book movies being serious. So Willem Dafoe, go crazy. And if you've seen like Willem Dafoe's career or whatever, the dude can go crazy. So this, I think, was a great execution of this character and the way he was portrayed. The scene with him in the mirror where it's flipping between him back and forth, I loved that so much.
I was just gonna say, I absolutely love that scene where he was doing his two different personalities in the mirror. I thought, sorry, Ben, I have to agree with Geoff. I think the camp was intentional, and I think his whole performance was exactly what they were hoping for, and I think he did a really great job.
I believe it was intentional, and I do agree it is campy. I just, something about like I don't know. I don't quite know how to put this into words. The tone of it felt a little different from the rest of the movie to me. Not I agree it was campy. I agree it was over the top. I don't know. It just was like, it didn't work for me. I don't know. I wish I had better. I wish I had a better critique than that.
Happens.
I also don't. This was a whole, if our friend Nathan is listening, we've had the debate many times of who has better villains, Batman or Spider-Man, just in general. And I'm not familiar with the Spider-Man villains very much. I don't, but I just feel like for me, the Batman villains have such distinct personalities in whatever form they're in. And I never quite vibe with the villains and the other superheroes. Now I don't know them as well, so I want to be fair about that. But like, to me, like, there's nothing more iconic than like the Riddler and the Joker and Catwoman and the Penguin that I feel like none of these other, I don't know. I felt like he wasn't as distinct to me.
That's fair. I think he's honestly, I was trying to think of the other sort of live action villains we've seen in this universe. They've actually all weirdly been animals of some kind.
Yeah. Well, I know my son and I, we have to fight Rhino a lot when we're playing Spider-Man.
Dr. Otto Octavius.
Doc Ock. Yeah.
We have.
I know about them now. I didn't know about them before. I had a 3-year-old obsessed with them. I will say, I think I don't know if I mentioned this on air. I know I've mentioned to Geoff and Amanda that I was getting a little frustrated with Charlie being into Spider-Man and Iron Man from his, he doesn't watch the live action movies yet. He's not old enough for that, but from his little kid cartoon versions of it. So I got him into Batman, and we started watching the 1960s Adam West Batman, and he loves it. So now we play Batman too.
Proud of you, Ben.
So I was like, if he's going to be into superheroes, which fine, but it better include Batman.
He has to at least do you that favor.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, you mentioned our friend Nathan. I was actually getting confused during this because I did at one point read the entire The Amazing Spider-Man comic book series. And Nathan can explain this a lot better to you because I don't really remember. But there's like different
I won't
alternate
really listen if he
universes.
explains. Like,
There's like the different alternate universes for the Spider-Man people. So like I don't know. And I don't know where I was going with this, but like that's why Tobey Maguire, no, that's why Andrew Garfield in The Amazing Spider-Man, that's why he's with Gwen Stacy and not with Mary Jane. And this one's not like that because it's a different universe, Spider-Man. I don't know.
and Gwen Stacy is Emma Stone, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's probably the other reason I like that movie more. Because I like her and everything.
So here's the real question, Ben. Is the upside down Spider-Man kiss more or less iconic than the Notebook kiss?
Oh, wow. Oh boy, that's a good question. I feel like in terms of I feel like Spider-Man.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Surprised
do.
you said that.
Really?
I mean, my pick was Spider-Man as well.
Well, I
Amanda
just feel
posed
like
me
I'm
that
not
question,
saying which
but-
one I like more, which one
Right.
means more to me, but I just think that really permeated pop culture in a way like that. I don't know that any other movie kiss quite has permeated pop culture the way that one has. As somebody who had never seen the movie until the last, couple days when I watched this, like I knew all about that kiss. That was like something that I knew in 2002, and that I've seen parodied and I've seen, replayed and stuff. So I don't know. To me, I feel like that is a more iconic movie kiss than The Notebook.
Okay. Well, I think we both agree with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
One aspect of this movie I do want to highlight that weirdly enough still holds very true today still is the J. Jonah Jameson element of this story. I love J.K. Simmons in this role so much. He is
J.K. Simmons is always good.
He's ridiculous. It is so great. His fast talking stuff, just trying to sell papers by stirring up some controversies. Very, very prevalent still to today, especially in the clickbait culture that we live in on social media and with the hot take culture and sports news and politics and everything. It is still so scarily relevant. And his first scene, when you first see him there, you think like, why is this guy just, if you don't know the context, of course, you're like, why is this guy just thrown in here or whatever? And it's great the way it's told and then how it's leveraged throughout the movie and influenced throughout the movie with Peter getting closer to him and then the New Yorkers all coming together and sort of those moments towards the end of the movie. It is so fun to see his fast talking everything introduction. It's very, very good.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever imagine someone else like playing that role ever again. And I'm really happy that I don't have to because every time Spider-Man gets rebooted into a different franchise or whatever, like they keep bringing J.K. Simmons back to just do the same role. So obviously everyone else agrees that.
Which also J.K. Simmons has looked generally the same like since the early 90s.
He really has.
Looks a little older today, but yeah.
Well, a little bit, but
yeah.
He looked kind of old man-y even in the early 90s.
Very funny, though. It is very funny how in No Way Home, they do bring J. Jonah Jameson back, and it is just J.K. Simmons. They didn't even try to recast him for this new Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, nope. He's just going to be like Alex Jones sitting in a basement.
Yep.
When I was talking about the most early 2000s things and talking about Macy Gray and the lines, one thing I forgot to mention is those montages they do in this movie are so cheesy and early 2000s feeling to me. The one where he like first starts fighting for good, the one where he's like planning his costume, like I'm like they're like I don't know, it has like almost like the vibe of like a daytime soap opera theme song from that era.
The transitions between different shots as well, just being so extra.
Here's one of the
Amazing.
things that I love the most, and this goes back to us talking about, oh, do we need like the origin story of Spider-Man every single time? And while I agree that we don't, I will say one of my favorite parts of any Spider-Man movie is when Spider-Man is first trying to learn how to be Spider-Man,
Yes.
because it's always hilarious. Like, I think just because of the, I don't know, because of the way his powers are or whatever, like it just lends itself to being very funny. But I was laughing a lot when he was trying to figure out how to like sling his webs and he's go web go.
Fly. Shazam.
Yeah, it always lends itself to be very funny.
Yep. You can always tell when my son is playing Spider-Man because I just hear a little whoosh around the house and sticking the hand out.
When he first realizes his new powers and everything in the school scene, very funny fight. Just the fight and the way it breaks out and everything in the school against large people and him doing like backflips and stuff. It's hilarious and ridiculous, him trying to figure it out. And I think it ended very well in terms of, hey, do I celebrate this fight with my best friend, or do I try to calm down the girl I have a crush for and try not to scare her too much? So I'm just gonna run away, kind of deal. It was very, very funny. Also, he legitimately shot web out of his hands in school and has webs like dragging along behind him as he's trying to leave the cafeteria. Wouldn't people put two and two together as the Spider-Man is flinging through New York City and taking over the news and the papers? Wouldn't someone put a connection together in the school? But
I would think so.
You would think.
I'll be like, this nerd. Or them being like, wait, but no, he's too nerdy. He's too not cool to do this kind of thing. Like, what? But
the one I actually would say one of my favorite scenes was when they were all over for the meal, and or was it
yes, Thanksgiving. Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
And he was trying to hide in the bedroom kind of thing, and they were trying to piece it together. Like, I was like, to me that was where the tension was building, but it was also like kind of comedic with him up on the up on the ceiling and stuff like that. But I also liked the where they were starting to piece together what was going on. I felt like that was an appropriate kind of tension building moment
For sure.
while also having comedic relief.
Oh, for sure. And Norman's letting the Green Goblin element of that insanity enter into his real life.
Yeah.
And he
starting to lose control of
everything,
turning off and on kind of thing.
Exactly. He can't quite figure it out. So he's letting this part of his behavior take over in moments where he definitely normally wouldn't. So it's very, very well done.
Yeah, I've always felt the most bad for Spider-Man because I feel like he just really wants to just help people and like fight crime, and like just terrible things happen to him all the time because he like is a superhero and has superpowers.
So I know that he's not very well liked these days. What are our feelings? We haven't really talked at all about James Franco in this. I feel like he's a whole lot of nothing in this movie.
Yeah.
I think because Harry Osborn is, relatively speaking, a whole lot of nothing. And that's the way it's supposed to be. He's unloved by his dad. His best friend wants his girl. Granted, he also took his best friend's girl. But yeah, he's kind of stuck in trying to impress his dad and while also trying to have some sort of autonomy, and ends up
he doesn't
being
have a lot
nothing.
of personality in this movie at
No,
all.
he
I feel
does
like
not.
No.
Hey, let me use my money to win you over, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they obviously build him up to become another supervillain at some point. And I think Geoff said he comes back in the third one.
Yes, as the villain in the third. Yep, as a villain in the third.
He's hopefully got more pizzazz there.
I will say their apartment, sick. Like a very movie stereotypical kind of New York apartment vibe. But I think it was a cool looking apartment there.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of New York, I love when the New Yorkers come to help Spider-Man. and they throw trash. The trash was so readily available, because New York is just lined with trash.
Very great that we're
That's what
covering.
Taylor Sheridan thinks.
Great that we're covering this movie a month after the New York Knicks have won the NBA championship. Just great New York vibes with this movie, with the interviewing of people around the street, to the varying opinions and the very thick New York accents, to, yes, the very end of the movie on the bridge. You mess with Spider-Man, you mess with New York. Great New York vibes kind of movie.
It is interesting that they choose to set it in New York as opposed to a fictional version of New York like Metropolis or Gotham. Because those Metropolis and Gotham both have major New York vibes too. But
yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Spider-Man's always been New York.
Always
That's just
has.
where he is.
Yeah.
Which, now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, oh, that's weird, but maybe intentional that Venom is set in California. It's like they literally took Venom and put him on the other side of the country.
Oh yeah, we forgot to talk about the Venom movies as part of the greater Spider-Man bridge. I don't think we need to, but
yeah.
Same
What
with
is-
Morbius.
I know we got away from talking about this, but what is, of all the ones you've seen, your favorite Spider-Man movie?
It's going to be coming up in my movies to recommend to watch with this.
Well then, Amanda, how about you?
I feel like it's probably recency bias, but I'm gonna have to go with Spider-Man No Way Home, which was the most recent Tom Holland Spider-Man one. And again, it's really just because we get all three of the Spider-Men together. And it was such a good time. It was such a good theatrical experience. There's a few things that the MCU has given us throughout their run of superhero movies, and the collective effervescence of having the three Spider-Men in one movie is just incredible.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It was an incredible theatrical experience. Ben, when you asked that, I will say, of the live action Spider-Man movies, that would be my pick as well. I'll leave that at that.
See, I keep forgetting about Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
I mean, I still like No Way Home better, but the Spider-Verse
closer.
movies are some of the best animated movies of this decade. When did they come out? Is it still appropriate to say decade?
First
Of
one
the
came
last
more than
decade,
10
of the
years?
last 10 years.
yeah, we're gonna do last 10 years.
Okay.
And who is Zendaya in this? Is she Mary Jane, or is she Gwen Stacy, or is she somebody else?
She's Mary Jane.
Okay.
Yeah, but you don't know that in the first movie.
It's only subtly teased at the end. In the first in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm not convinced I'm going to watch any of these, but I really didn't like Kirsten Dunst that much in this. I feel like, and I know I remember liking Emma Stone. I feel like I'd like Zendaya.
Poor MJ is put through the ringer in this movie.
She's very, very damsel in distress kind of thing in this movie.
Oh, in every way.
I've never really liked Kirsten Dunst, and I feel like it probably started with this. maybe something else, but this probably didn't help.
Yeah, she's not one of my favorites, but I don't know. She doesn't. I don't know. I don't think she's done a lot of favors by the way the part is written, but she also isn't elevating it.
Yeah. She's put into a tough spot where she is just, I don't want to say arm candy for people, but she kind of stuck being arm candy for a lot of the movie, where she's in theory with, what did you say, four different guys technically.
Because she doesn't know Spider-Man.
But she's also just like, help me, Spider-Man, help me. It's just like, I don't know. It's I don't totally blame Kirsten Dunst, but I also do think someone could have made it, if not a better part, at least a little more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And there's obviously a lot they could have gone off of. Like, there's 8,000 different Spider-Man comic books. MJ is in so many of them. She definitely has a lot of, personality and different things that have been written about her over the years.
Yeah.
So they could have brought more to her for sure. Either of you have any final thoughts?
The only other thing I was going to mention is, well, two things. One, a little shout out to a cameo from Octavia Spencer before she was a big name.
I was going to make a whole note about this. Yeah, Octavia Spencer shows up. Elizabeth Banks is here as well as the secretary. And then the last one I wanted to call, well, Stan Lee, of course, he shows up.
Yeah.
And then the last one I do want to call out is that the ring announcer for the wrestling event, well, also in the wrestling event, we have Macho Man Randy Savage. You're going nowhere. Love that. But the in-ring announcer for the wrestling match is played by Bruce Campbell. And Bruce Campbell was the star of Sam Raimi's directorial debut, The Evil Dead, which is his claim to fame and set the bar for everything. Bruce Campbell does make an appearance, I believe, in every single Sam Raimi movie in some capacity. So
Nice.
There you go. Fun.
There you go.
Fact. Sorry, Ben. Didn't mean to.
No, you're fine. My other thing I was going to mention is towards the very end, when they're having that final standoff with Green Goblin and Spider-Man ducks and whatever that, I don't even know, machine thing, whatever it is, hits Green Goblin, but like it probably would have hit him anyway with where he was standing. Didn't seem very thought out. Like, even if Spider-Man hadn't ducked, wouldn't it have still just like gone right through Spider-Man and right into his neck?
I don't know, unless the momentum would have stopped it. Like, in theory, in Green Goblin's mind, the thing would have gone through Spider-Man and then stopped. Maybe.
I mean, that seems unlikely, but
I mean, also we're talking about an insane man in this instance. True. On his last legs of life. Yep.
I was just like, even the best case scenario for him doesn't seem like it would pan out great.
All right. My last thing with this movie is that, much like when we did Crazy Stupid Love a few weeks back, this movie is a meme factory. So many memes that have sustained on internet culture or have been used in some sort of capacity, I recognize from this movie so clearly. I'm something of a scientist myself. I feel like gets memed a lot, and just swap out scientist for something else. Spider-Man with the glasses, him putting on the glasses and everything, or when he finds out he can see without his glasses, I should say. That's, I know, a meme used a lot. Amanda, you kind of teased it a little bit there earlier, but the sad crying Spider-Man face as Uncle Ben is dead there. There's one more.
There's the one that you said with Aunt May when Green Goblin bursts through her window.
Yes, when Aunt May
scene is so ridiculous.
When Aunt May is praying and then the house explodes, I know that's been used as a meme. So
she's like, deliver us, and he's like, finish it. So dramatic.
So good. But yeah, very fun movie to look back on and have as our time capsule.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, Ben, why don't you give us our TV recommendations?
All right. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't mention one of my 3-year-old's favorite shows, Spidey and His Amazing Friends.
Obviously.
Which has a great theme song. And so he enjoys that. They've got all your Spider-Man villains and everything in there, which is why we have to fight them when we go to the playground. There is also a recent show that I have not checked out. I don't know if Geoff, if you have, called Spider Noir.
I've been meaning to. It's on my list.
Yeah, starring Nicolas Cage, and you can watch in black and white or in color. I decided not to check it out. I heard there were kind of mixed reviews to it. I hear, if you are watching, that it starts kind of slow, but then is a little better towards the end. I probably will not end up seeing it. And then the third one is there is an episode of The OC, which I have been watching The OC for the first time ever, very slowly, but I kind of pick it up back in the summers when I don't have as many regular shows to watch. So I've been going through it for like 3 summers now, and I'm almost done. But there's an episode in the second season where Rachel Bilson and Adam Brody, who are a great couple in the show, they recreate the Spider-Man upside down kiss. Adam Brody is hanging upside down in a Spider-Man costume. Rachel Bilson is in the rain and they recreate the kiss. And I saw the OC version, at least in context, before I ever saw the Spider-Man version. Although I knew this, again, we talked about how that scene has permeated pop culture. So even though I hadn't seen Spider-Man when I saw that scene, I knew exactly what they were doing, not just because he was wearing a Spider-Man costume, but but it's a memorable moment from the OC. And the OC, speaking of 2000s times capsules, also ties in because it is major early 2000s vibes.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. All right. Thank you. Geoff, let's hear your movie recommendations.
All right. So movie number 1 is going to be my favorite Spider-Man movie of the 21st century, and that is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, where Miles Morales figures out how to become Spider-Man and meets a different Spider-Man across different timelines and everything. And it brings together the whole world. The sequel just came out a few years ago called Across the Spider-Verse, where we meet even more Spider-Men. Not only is it one of the best animated movies of the last decade, it's one of the best movies, period, of the last decade. A true blue masterpiece. Both of those movies are. The second one I'll recommend is comic book movie tying into an origin story where both characters kind of go through something similar. And when Tobey Maguire is standing there in the mirror the day after his transformation or a day after he gets bitten, he looks at himself in the mirror and all of a sudden you see he's a little jacked. He's a little bigger. He's like, ooh, I got arms now. Captain America, the First Avenger, the first movie with Chris Evans as Steve Rogers. There's a very, very dramatic transition, naturally, because he becomes Captain America. But that sort of physical embodiment of a new type of person. Very, very well executed in that movie. The third movie I'll recommend is Darkman, which is the superhero movie that Sam Raimi directed before the Spider-Man movies. Kind of a detective-y movie there. And then the last one is movies from the 2020s that maybe not as many people have seen, but I know this one is pretty popular amongst certain audience. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. Bunch of high school age turtles going through some stuff in New York City, just wanting to try to fit in. And it's a pretty great movie. It's very, very fun. Kind of got a cheesy element to it and feels a lot more high school than this Spider-Man movie does.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So now we will move into today's top 4, which, as I mentioned, is animals that we would want to gain superpowers from. So we didn't really specify.
That's what the people have always been wondering.
Yeah. And, we didn't really specify if we'd be using these superpowers to fight crime or just for personal enjoyment or what.
I think whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. Feel free to
interpret this how you will.
Yeah. Geoff, why don't you start us off?
Okay. So I apologize in advance, but I had some fun with this list. So my honorable mention.
Geoff has made comic books of all of these characters already.
Oh, just you wait. So my first one, honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is the ant, specifically the ant's strength. Ants can lift a lot of stuff relative to their body weight. It'd be pretty cool to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
And then the peregrine falcon. I want to fly really fast. Like, that's just cool. So those are my 2 honorable mentions. So my number 4 is the tabby cat. Specifically Puss in Boots from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And I would want the superhero power of sword fighting mixed with beautiful charm. It's a great superpower to have. And, it's just one of those skills you could just pull out and bam, you're good to go. Yeah. Number 3 is the ape. Specifically, Caesar the ape from Rise, Dawn, and War of Planet of the Apes. And what I would want is that ape's leadership abilities and command of a room and knowing exactly where to direct people and lead people. Caesar was a great leader in those 3 Planet of the Apes movies. Number 2 is the rat. Specifically, Remy the rat from Ratatouille. And I would want the superhero power to be a great cook.
Oh,
come on. That's just great. That's just a great life skill. I don't want to get into fights with people. I don't want to do anything like that. Come on, I want the superhero power to cook. Let me cook here. And then the last one, I would want the powers of a golden retriever. Specifically, Air Bud from the movie Air Bud. And that superhero power.
You're not picking any old random one. You guys very specific animals you need the powers from.
Listen, very specific animals. And listen, for that one, I think it's pretty clear. It's a superpower to ball out in every sport imaginable. Just ageless wonder. And then I do want to throw in one last honorable mention that I was going to tease a little bit there, but the honey badger, for one, they just don't give a, pardon my French, shit. And also the badger from Fantastic Mr. Fox, who's great with real estate and just knows the real estate market. That was going to be my last honorable mention, but I would give away my list there a little bit. So anyway, that's my top 4. I had some fun with it.
You don't want to be the weasel from Suicide Squad?
You know, I thought about it for a second. I wanted to try to pick movie characters who were also like kind of animals in real life. And the weasel from the Suicide Squad we're walking on that weird fine line.
All right. Well, good list. Thank you for injecting some humor into this.
That's what I do.
Ben, let's hear your list.
I feel like Geoff should have gone after me because I feel like he put a lot more thought into this list than I did. Because he had the very specific, go. I mean, Air Bud, that's a good answer. I was just kind of like, because I thought about dogs. I was like, but I don't know. What can dogs really do?
That's right. That's the thing. Like a normal dog, I'm like, yeah, power of smell, hearing.
Yeah.
The power to be a good boy and just be your friend.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Power friendship. There we go. I don't know.
Loyalty, I guess.
There you go.
Maybe I should have put a dog on this list.
I don't know.
I'll make it an honorable. I didn't have an honorable mention, so I'll make dog an honorable mention.
I don't know if that's a good superpower to have, though, because being too loyal to something could be a detriment.
Not a dog's loyalty, though. That's unwavering.
Touche.
And dogs know when it's not someone they should be loyal to.
Yeah.
All right. My number 4 is so I was more just thinking of the animal themselves, not specific animals from movies. Although I like the way Geoff did that, but I didn't go down that route. So I have number 4, a firefly. Because, they cool. The flying, the glowing,
The ability to light up a room.
Right. I already do some of that, but it'd be nice to add flying to it. My number 3 is a chameleon, which I think, the idea of being able to like sneakily blend into something, I think could, be in my advantage behind those closed door meetings that I always want to be a fly on the wall for, but if I was just a chameleon blending into the wall, that'd be even easier.
Plus you get the tongue. That's
right. Number 2, I said a chimpanzee because you might notice that I don't really care about like fighting and strength. I just want to like have fun. So I guess I'm not really trying to save people or use them for good or great power and great responsibility. I'm just like out to have a good time. And I feel like chimps have a good time. And they can do some, so they have some similarities to humans and what they can do. So, but they just have a good time up on those trees. And speaking of having a good time, I was trying to think of like, well, firefly can fly, but not do like, I was thinking like, who can soar? Mm-hmm. And so I went with the hawk for number 1.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like how much I love Soarin' and Flights of Passage at Disney. And if I could just do that all the time, the fun swooping and flying. So again, I'm not out to save people. I'm just out to have a good time in my animal aliases. So there we go. Those are my top 4.
Cool. Good list. I really didn't put too much thought into my list. So definitely going to fall somewhere between you two.
Between Geoff's complete care and Ben's complete lack of care. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, closer to where you are, Ben.
Geoff's got like origin stories and back, he's got like everything put together here. He's got a movie deal for some of his ideas.
For mine, for the most part, I did try to come up with things that would be good, like superpowers in the traditional sense, I guess. So number 4 is a water bear, which would basically give me the ability to be the most resilient thing on planet Earth.
Ooh.
I think they've been around for like just bajillions and bajillions of years ever since the earth was formed. They can withstand extreme heat and cold, pressure, blunt trauma, radiation. They can survive in the vacuum of space. So
You're doing some doomsday prepping with this one.
I mean, I would be invincible.
That's pretty dope. Did not think about that.
Yeah. Number 3 would be an octopus, because and I feel like when I say this, I'm going to take all the cool parts of all the different kinds of octopuses. Octopi.
We'll go with octopi.
Octopuses. Some of them are like really good at camouflage, and they can literally like move and be camouflaged at the same time, and they can like fit into really tiny like small spaces. Plus 8 arms is probably useful, so that would be fun. My number 2 is a kangaroo, because I don't know, I just think that would be really fun. And like they have really good leg day, like leg strength.
Yeah.
And they can kick stuff real good, and they can punch too, right? So I mean, that's what I learned from Kangaroo Jack. I don't know if that's true or not, but
Their arms definitely don't have the same power as their legs, though. They
Yeah.
use their tail a lot to like balance and kick.
Yeah, there you go.
Still,
So
that leg day.
I think it would be fun, and to have a built-in pouch to like carry snacks and stuff.
Yes, that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. And then number 1 is a hippo. And yes, hippos are big, they're strong, they got good bite strength, whatever. The one thing I want from a hippo is that they secrete their own sunscreen that kind of looks like blood. And I just really wish I could secrete my own sunscreen.
Putting on sunscreen is a pain.
It really is. And when you're as white as I am, it's a lifelong struggle. So I am very envious of the hippo's built-in sunscreen.
Amazing. I didn't even realize that they did that.
I didn't either. Apparently it's kind of pinkish reddish and looks like blood, so that's pretty metal.
Yeah.
And on that silly note,
there we go.
Brings us to the end of our Spider-Man episode. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to tune in next week. We will be hitting you with a mini episode of what we've been watching in the month of July. And then if you'd like to try to prep for the episode after that, we will be watching Twister. Ain't no love in Oklahoma, baby.
Yeehaw.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a rating or review, and follow us on all our social channels. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see y'all next week.
To infinity and beyond!
Why so serious?
I am serious. And don't call me Shook.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.